Good morning. I am being a little bit quiet because my kids are still asleep. I'm just sitting up doing my journaling, enjoying my cup of tea. Today's selection is Earl Grey. It's been my favorite lately with a little vital proteins and what's in there? Coconut milk. So that's why I'm using my quiet voice, because my kids are still asleep. I got to get them up soon to get them out to school. But I wanted to just kind of share something that I've been hearing myself say a lot. So that's kind of like the themes of these videos, is like stuff when I'm doing therapy that I find myself repeating over and over again. Mindfulness is often one of them, because I do a lot of groups on, it's called distress tolerance, but it's also just like teaching mindfulness skills, which I think sometimes people get overwhelmed by because they think it's like this big thing. So the other thing that's been coming up a lot is just this idea of attunement, self-awareness, learning to kind of check in with your body, which is like where mindfulness really comes into play, right? Like, what is the point of being mindful? Like, we don't necessarily need to sit around and meditate all day. Like, for sure, that's good. But then, like, what is the practicality of that? And that's this idea of like finding your check engine light. I think many of us have probably several check engine lights. So imagine like your car dashboard. If you're a driver, if you guys have access to public transportation, I'm super envious because I would love it, except for when I have to grocery shop. Sorry, such a tangent. But yeah, so your check engine light, it's like, what are the indicators in your life that let you know when things are kind of going awry? For me, one of the first things that I started noticing is in my yoga practice, when I couldn't balance. I knew like my mind was all over the place. It was like definitely like a very strong correlation. My mind's all over the place, can't focus, can't stay present. My balance is off in yoga. So that's one for me. The other one is just when I struggle with anxiety, I feel it in my chest. It really feels like the strong, tight pull in my chest. If it gets really bad, then it goes down into my tummy. So those are some big ones for me. Some people, I've been doing some work at a drug rehab, and a lot of them will have dreams, like very bizarre dreams. Totally relate to that. Like when I'm super stressed out, I have really bizarre dreams, like some of the weirdest, those ones where you wake up and you're like, what just happened? Very emotional, very confusing. If it gets really bad, then I have insomnia. I usually get that like maybe like once every month or so. It really sucks. So those are for me. So I really want you to think about like, what are those check engine lights? What are the indicators in your life that are like early warning signs that you're kind of struggling, and that you need to maybe reel back on some of the things that you're invested in, and some of the projects, some of the things on your plate, and then really focus that time and energy on self-care, stress management, doing things like journaling, drawing, reading, connecting with friends and loved ones, people who you feel like just really positive relationships with, that they're nurturing and loving. Yeah, I was going to say something else, but I forget what it was. And I have to go get my kids up. So I hope that helps. I hope it helps to just think of it that way and just like really start focusing in on what those things are. You will probably discover that there's a lot more than you think. I was gonna come up with oh, I know, my last one. When I'm journaling, the other thing that I notice is I'm all over the place. Like, I can't sit and journal. I usually try and do 3 pages in the morning just to clear my head. But sometimes when I'm really stressed out, I can't do it. I'm checking my phone, I'm sending out emails, I'm like doing 1,000 other things, and I can't just give myself 20 minutes to sit and write. So yeah, so be really mindful of what's happening in your life, and really like start looking for those indicators, those check engine lights of when you are starting to become a little more stressed, moving towards like overwhelmed and an unhealthy place. And then do the work to apply those coping skills to manage the stress, so that way it stays in a more healthy, productive stress and not into that toxic stress. Have a good day. Bye.